Hello guys, welcome back to the Try 10 Podcast YouTube channel. I'm Callum and here's the top 10 loose forwards in Super League. So of course a couple of weeks ago we did our first one of these, which was the top 10 second rows in Super League. You showed us a lot of support on that and this has led to us doing every position. So this week we've got loose forwards where there's obviously a lot less options than second rowers, so hopefully there's not as much controversy in these picks. But yeah, these are my top 10, it's my opinion. And yeah, let's get into it. So at number 10, I've gone with Ollie Partington. Now I think obviously he's only young, but I think in the short career he's got so far, I think he's been really good, consistent, one of Salford's best players probably, just does the job really. He's gone away from Wigan, which obviously a lot of people have succeeded at Wigan. Wigan are the big club at the minute, doing well, and he's gone away from that and still succeeding, so fair play to him, solid player. At number 9 we've got Luke Yates. Now I think Luke Yates again, he goes under the radar quite a bit, but I think he's really good. I think he's a great player, a solid sort of Super League workhorse type player. Obviously, I mean at Huddersfield it's a bit weird this season. I've seen like Cudjoe playing loose forward, but I have here gone with players. Majority of these, if not all of them, are the number 13 for their club, and I imagine if everyone were fit, they would be the main loose forward. But yeah, we'll move on to number 8, and we've got a young lad that I am really fond of. And if you're a fan of the podcast, you'll know this, and it's Matty Nicholson. I think for the age this kid is, he's absolutely incredible how good he is. He's so good. Honestly, I think England international when he's older, nailed on, I think he's amazing. I think he's probably got the highest ceiling out of everyone on this list as well. I think he's great. Does everything well. I can see him following a similar path to like Morgan Smith is and going over to Australia and stuff. What a player. At number 7 we've got, I think, another one who goes really under the radar due to the team he plays in probably, and that's Cade Ellis. Like, not many teams, we speak a lot about teams who bring players over from Australia and that just aren't good, but Cade Ellis is one that's just being good. He's just solid, isn't he? He just does that job, and he's a key part of the team that won the grand final last year, but he does go under the radar because he's not, the flashy player, but he's such an astute, acquisition from Australia really, and it does go under the radar how good he actually is. He could easily be high up this list as well. Then we've got number 6, and we've got Morgan Knowles. Now some people might have him like up at number 1. I know Saints fans probably do, and I really like Morgan Knowles. I think his running style is great, a lot of things like that. I think the one thing that potentially lets him down, which when we go over up to these sort of top 2 especially, is something that I think is a really key thing in a loose forward, is the discipline side of it. I think sometimes he can lose his head a bit, and we know that's in his game, and it's a good part of his game at times as well. But that's why he's here. I also think, again, he's not one of the significant players in that Saints team. I don't necessarily think, but I think going forward, like again, only young, can only get better really. And now we're in the top 5. Now this is getting interesting now, and we've gone with Benjamin Garcia. Now again, I think Garcia is one of the most underrated players in the Super League of the last 10 years. I just think how good he is. Obviously at Catalans, and he's obviously not English, so you kind of just, I feel like he gets left out of a lot of conversations. But how good he is and how much of a leader he is for Catalans is, it can't be spoken about enough really. He's so good. Obviously he's coming towards that back end now, and so he's a couple of years ago I might have had him in the top 3, but I think now he's obviously coming back, maybe on that bit of a decline, but I still think he's an incredible rugby league player. And now we've got number 4. Now this is a controversial one, and we've got Joe Westerman. Obviously the man loves the Gregs. He loves a lot of things. The most controversial player on this list, I would argue, definitely. And yeah, I know people, it's kind of a weird thing. Me and Matt are absolutely like the highest on Westerman. We think he's Castleford's best player by a country mile, and he probably is actually. How good he is, and he's probably playing some of the best rugby the last couple of years that he ever has really. Obviously he's in a worse team than he probably ever has been as well, but like how he's done it throughout his career and at different clubs, and just he's always sort of stayed there, and I think he's got to be commended for like the consistency in his performances. I think he's great. I think he links a lot of stuff that Castleford do together well, with his ball handling skills. I think he's got good go forward. He's defensively amazing. He's just, he's a great player. He's going to be one of them players who's like, looks back on as like never played for England or anything like that, but maybe he should have done because of how consistently good he has been over his career. And now we'll move on to top 3. And this one, I didn't know where to place this player, and obviously I've landed on top 3. I don't think it would ever be higher. I think it could potentially be lower. I'm going with Asiata, and obviously he's going to be at Hull FC next year. Check out our Hull FC related podcast that we did this week if you haven't already. And yeah, Asiata, I think obviously he's got the career behind him, hasn't he? He's got a decent career behind him, but he's so good for Leeds. He's one of Leeds' top 3-4 players realistically on his day, and that's why he's a good acquisition for Hull FC. Obviously he's back end of his career now. He's going to be on big money at Hull FC as well, but he is so good. And again, I know people are going to say to me, I know the comments are going to come, how can you slag Knowles for his discipline and then put Asiata there? But I think Asiata is a lot more important to Lee, as we probably are seeing a bit this season with like his injuries and stuff like that, than Knowles is to Saints, really. And that's a big thing. And obviously, maybe you put Asiata in that Saints team and he's not as important. He's at the same sort of level as Knowles. But for me, Asiata is third. But I think, like next season, I think if I do this, I think he'll be a lot lower down this list. And now top two, what you've come to see. And these two, it's interesting, these two, because I just don't know. Some people think that these are probably like 9 and 10. But for me, and I imagine for Matt as well, I'm kind of guessing what Matt would think here. These would be the top two. And number two, which Matt might put as number one, is Cam Smith. Now, I'll be the first one, and so will Matt, to be fair, to slag Leeds off, even though he's a Leeds fan. But Cam Smith is amazing. Like, I think he has that all-round game. He's defensively good. He links the play so well. He's such a good ball-handling loose forward. His go-forward's good. He's a captain. He's got that captain's mentality, the leadership there. He is... I said this about Reece Martin in the second row as well. I was going to say he's Leeds' best player. They can't all be Leeds' best player, but he's in that conversation, definitely. And yeah, I think, again, these top two really are both burdened by the fact that Victor Radley has declared himself as English, really, because I think they'd both be competing for a loose forward spot in the England side. And yeah, I do really like Cam Smith. Obviously, love him from his little loan spell that he had at Bradford as well. And now we're going to number one, which I'm assuming you all know who this is now. And Hull KR fans will be bloody happy because they were slagging me off for not putting Tanjinoa in second row of one. And he's number one on this one, is Minchella, so you can bloody have it. But yeah, I love Minchella. Unreal. I think the thing with Minchella is I think he does everything Cam Smith does, just a little bit better. I think he's very important to Hull KR. I think he's just... how he's evolved as a player. Like, I remember when we had him at Bradford and he was great. He was way too good for that level, but I never knew he could reach this height. He is so good. I mean, he's good with the ball in hand. He's good at taking the ball in. He's good at defensively. He's amazing. His discipline's really good. The one thing that always confuses me is why does Minchella not kick for UK? They have all these kicking issues and he don't kick. I don't get it, because he kicked for Bradford quite a lot, actually. And he was good as well. So that's a separate thing, though. But yeah, I think Elliot Minchella is absolutely great. But yeah, I can see how people maybe thought he would be lower on their list, and let me know where you'd rank these guys as well. Obviously, there's a few that have missed out from the list, but I won't go into them. But yeah, Minchella number one. And yeah, let us know what you think, and thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in whatever the next position is.